Spotty gotta do? What?
Hey guys, it's Japanese Tutor, and I'm accompanied by the sound of a really loud police siren that doesn't seem to go away. In today's lesson, we're going to keep going about pawn structure. So hopefully you guys can bear with me with the police siren sounds. And yeah, let's get right into it. So we have a game with pawns versus Korobov. What I want you to do is turn to that page in the book. If you have the book, if you've been following with us in the Kindle, it's pages 189 to 199, and I'm just going to go ahead and read it from where we left off. We're going to explore 12 structures in these lessons and several related formations to seek answers, but there is a warning. First, many pawn structures that you encounter are messy. They won't fit neatly into the classifications you'll find on these pages, and you'll have to deal with them the way you would any strange middle game situation. You have to figure it out. Okay, so they're going to drop us into a random position, and we're going to try to figure it out together. So let's go ahead and do this. And what I suggest is you try to guess the move. Okay, so knight h5, and they give us this position to try to figure it out. If you want to take your time, pause the video. If not, I'm just going to keep on going. This resembles the more familiar formations which arise when white's c pawn is on c4 or c2. Then the thematic plan for white is e4, e5. But here, on move 15, e5 and bishop g4 leads to obscure complications. So in this game, white noticed something else that makes the position very different from very typical Benoni's. Black's knight can't get to e5 easily. And that means that we should play f5. Because before, the Benoni structures like to utilize e5 for their knight, but this knight can't get to e5 very quickly. So that indicates that f5 is the move here. So it threatens f captures g6, f captures g6, e5, and then bishop captures g6, and white would sacrifice soundly on g5. So the game went on g captures f5, e captures f5, knight f6, knight e3, and bishop c8. Thanks to the kingside pawn structure, black desperately needs counterplay. He wants to target d5 with bishop b7, but white foiled that with his next move, a4. a6, b3 is actually exclamation point. Bishop b7, c4. This effectively took black's queenside pieces out of the game. So basically, these pieces right now cannot play. And this is all just because of the pawn structure. And after queen d7, the time was right for this very, very strong move. Bishop captures f6. Black would have only one piece to defend the king side after bishop captures f6, so they have to play e captures f6. So after e captures f6, this is a very one-sided structure. Although it looks very even, right? We have 7 pawns versus 7 pawns, 2 knights and a bishop versus 2 bishops and a knight, 2 rooks and 1 queen. So they have even material, but this is one of those positions where it's like deemed lost or positionally lost by some annotators. So really, really cool to see. So let's keep going with what the book says. The pawns make it easy for white to attack, hard for black to defend, and impossible to create counterplay. The outcome was becoming clear after knight to g4, h5, knight f2, exclamation point, rook f to e8, knight e4. So very, very nice maneuver of the knight. Captures, bam, knight g3, can't defend the pawn, and then knight captures h5. Black resigned. Shortly after knight to b4, queen f4, another exclamation point, threatening here to deliver checkmate. King over, bishop e4, bishop a6, rook c4, defending the pawn. Just getting all the pieces in. If takes, then we have takes as well. So really, really, really strong move. So show you f captures. His pieces just cannot move. And if queen captures, it's a whole world of mess because we are threatening mate in 1. So that's why he cannot capture. Rook captures, knight e6. And he resigned here. So really, really strong game. Now it looks like he can defend, but this is almost undefendable. And that's gonna queen. And also we can defend it in so many ways. It doesn't matter really what they play. Maybe they want to defend it with a knight. We can also just bring this pawn down. Rook b1's an option. Everything is winning for white in this position. So a second caveat is there are some recurring pawn structures that have been omitted to keep this book a reasonable size. It's a textbook, not an encyclopedia. And there's no examination. For example, the double pawns that arise in another game. You have to do your own homework and you have to see the different structures that you get in your games. What I recommend for you to do, now this is not a book of all answers, but this book will give you the principles and will give you the tools needed to decipher the pawn structure code. So now what I challenge you to do is look at your games, look at the pawn structures that you're getting in your positions, and then say, okay, what are we really doing? What are the pawns telling me to do? And then from there, we're going to start winning more games. And I think if you can do that, you will become a way better chess player in no time. So there's another game that we're going to go over. It's Kramnik versus, and I'm probably going to mispronounce this, but Refutation. And this is in 1992. So we're just going to go over the moves. E4, C5, knight F3. And for those of you at home, it's a Sicilian. Knight C6. Bishop captures bishop b5, captures on c6. So they're not going to go over this because this is just a double pawn position. So it omits moves like this, and it also omits moves like this. So d4, knight f6, c4, e6, knight c3, bishop b4, a3, captures. Again, so these are the positions that they're not going to pretty much examine. Or there's another one that you should take a look on because they happen so many times. E4, E5, knight F3, knight C6, knight C3, knight F6. Very nice move. Is the Halloween Gambit, but we're not gonna play that. So bishop B5, bishop B4, castles, D3, D6, bishop G5. Bishop captures on c3, b captures on c3. There are things that they are going to cover, and there are things that they're not going to cover. So it's up to you as a chess player to actually go ahead and study what they do cover and apply it to what you are playing to make sense of it and to become a stronger player. We are going to go over the Kramnik and Refutation game. And so they want us to move all the way here to move 16. So white's e-pawn has captured on f4. So this is a cross between the Slav formation and the Isolani in chapter 7. So we're going to go over these. So one of white's goals in both of these formations is to push his d-pawn. And here he can play it just based off the tactics. So d5 is what he plays. And Kramnik obviously knows this idea. So let's say if knight captures d5, we're just going to make a sideline here. Knight captures d5. Obviously, queen h7 is mate. Let me just put that on the board for you. This is mate in one, right? Because the bishop is supporting the queen. The king cannot go anywhere. So the knight cannot capture. C captures d5, knight captures d5. And if queen captures t2, we have the little intermezzo. Knight captures e7 where the king has to move away somewhere. And then we can take the queen. So c captures is not good. Okay, and if e captures d5, then the similar tactic captures. Knight captures here, and if c captures, then obviously we have the queen that we can take. And if knight captures, then obviously we have the same trick. So d5, now it looks bad, but it's kind of one of those hidden moves that we just don't see. We have 3 pieces defending that square, but none of them can take it, so it's kind of a cool position. So instead, they played rook e8. Rook d8, white was able to make a favorable exchange. So rook f to e1, king h8, d captures e6, rook captures d1, rook captures d1, f captures e6, and he finished the position. Now that the e6 pawn is a target, he went after it. And said, okay, I'm going to keep attacking this weak e6 pawn. Take it and knight d7, and this is such a strong move. Again, you have a whole bunch of pieces that can take, and no matter what happens, you lose. Let's cover a line. Bishop captures g7. Queen e7. King h8. Can't defend. Take and mate on the square of king h7. Queen e7. King h8. And then capture on f6 here. Queen f7 and mate. So kind of a cool line. So on knight d7 as well. So let's go back. So knight d7. Let's say the knight captures. Then again, we don't want this knight to be protected. So rook captures check first. If bishop captures, then again, we have the same idea, right? And if queen captures, then queen captures takes. If queen captures here, then we just take here, here, and now just queen d4, and we pick up a piece. And we play a queen versus rook, and this is easily winning. After this episode, we are actually going to start mastering pawn structures. So tune into the next episode if you're excited. Thank you guys all for the recent subscriptions and all the likes that you guys are giving. Like, it's amazing. Just keep pushing it up. Thank you. And I'll see you in the next one. And also, if you want the books, they are down below. All the books I recommend for all chess players and the book for this one as well. So thank you and have a great one.